With the offense, we heard going into the season, no one really knew what to expect. We heard Cliff Kingsbury say that no one had seen this type of offense before. Through most of the game, it felt like we had seen that type of offense before, and there were some interesting wrinkles. Now seeing the full-fledged offense unveiled, what are your thoughts on the schematics of it?
I think we still need to see a little bit more. I think for those first three quarters, people were kind of using Cliff's words against him, like, well, they've never seen this offense before because there's nothing to see, it turns out, which late in the game was not true. But he mentioned post-game that he felt maybe he was trying to be a bit too creative with play calling, which understandable. Your first game in the NFL, you want to kind of have a splashy debut. But I think without getting Kyler Murray in a rhythm, it's still kind of hard to gauge exactly what this offense is going to look like. The end of the game gave us some hints there, but it'll be interesting to see what they do for week 2.
I thought the defense overall played pretty well. They obviously gave up a couple of huge plays, and the tight end position really abused the defense. And now that you look ahead, the Ravens had a couple big plays in week 1. Mark Andrews, the tight end, played very well. Just what do you look for the Cardinals defense now to do to take those next couple of steps to make sure that they limit the Ravens moving forward?
One thing that I found was notable is we've been talking about the run defense for the Cardinals for so long. They only allowed Detroit 116 yards last night, which I know in times they wanted to keep it to 100 or less. And that partially was because the Lions put up more than 300 yards of passing. But even during the preseason, that was something I was still watching a lot, where it was such a narrative last season against the Chargers, didn't look great. Again, preseason doesn't totally inform us of what the rest of the season will look like, but just to kind of have that storyline feel like it was continuing, I think that's something that they can still tweak a little bit, especially, when you're going up against someone like Lamar Jackson, who Cliff Kingsbury spoke very highly of this past week, unprompted. Like, he was just asked about dual threat quarterbacks in general and went straight to Lamar. I think it'll be an interesting challenge for the Cardinals defense to try to contain him.
With the kickoff of the season, it always seems like some questions are answered, but more questions can now pop up. What's the biggest question? What's the biggest storyline you want to keep an eye on with this team over the next couple of weeks?
I think I'll be interested to see what David Johnson does. I think that's been kind of a lingering question for a while, just what will he look like? And I feel like given how weird of a game it was and how much of the discussion revolved around Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray, there's still a lot to be seen from David Johnson, and just kind of whether or not he'll get back to those 2016 numbers will be interesting, especially since this offense is trying creative looks receiver-wise.